We're searching for buried treasure, brother, but the real treasure was the friends we made along the way. We watched McCinsey's Island starring Hulk Hogan today on Nothing Movies. So after all this time, I've finally come up with a wrestler name for myself.
Have you now?
Yeah, you ready? I'm going to debut it tonight.
Please, yeah.
The Shingler!
The Shingler.
Ooh, you're going to want to avoid one particular side of my body for multiple reasons. The Shingler!
I was going to ask you how you wanted to address this.
I come immediately, right out of the gate.
All right,
don't rip that Band-Aid off. My skin's very tender currently right now.
Well,
it's a public service announcement to everyone listening out there. Don't get shingles. Just don't do it. It's not worth. And the thing is, like I look around right now and I see these kids. Jameson, with their TikToks and everything, and they're going like, "Oh, 24-hour shingle challenge. You know, let's do it. Let's lick bus poles and get our immune system compromised." And like, kids, it's not cool. It's not worth it.
All right, old man Lesgar.
You gotta hold on, I gotta climb up this soapbox here. You don't want, I know it seems like hip and trendy to get shingles over one side of your body, but don't do it. It's not appealing.
For those of you who may be wondering, since our last recording, Kaz got shingles.
I think I was being vague about it, but maybe I'm glad that you spelled it out for them, because I was using metaphor and simile. The Shingler!
You leave nothing to our audience's imagination.
And it's like a play on words, because I come out dressed like a roofer, like I have like a tool belt on and everything, and then I take that off, and I'm just like red and pussy down.
Is he like a roofing-based wrestler?
One side of my body. Yeah. The Shingler! Oh, I thought I would catch up on my TV shows, but instead I mostly just slept. The Shingler!
And you're using the same kind of inflection as the
Dougler! The Dougler, yeah, exactly. I can't get anything.
Yeah.
I can't get anything past you. This is why we're friends, because you recognize the cartoons that I am ripping off from like 2004,
and trying to pass off as your own material.
Indeed,
for a show.
Absolutely. Hey, it got me.
Call it the plagiarism.
It got me a role in one of your cartoons.
That's very true. I will say the Shingler is not like, well, of all the wrestling gimmicks that I have heard in the last year, it's no Luigi Primo, who I showed you, that guy who's like the pizza maker.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't compare to that
guy.
Well,
the Shingler isn't offensive to any one nationality in particular. It's just, it's offensive to people with
who have shingles,
who had chicken pox as a kid, and then that's the most fucked up thing about it at all.
Yeah.
Is like I've been living, everyone has been living through pandemic times, but I lived in this atmosphere of, be careful where you go, be careful like who you talk to, be careful what you touch, be careful where you breathe, wear a mask, be careful. And then the first time I got debilitatingly sick during this entire time, it's from something that was already inside me.
Yeah.
It was from something that was like waiting in the dark, waiting to pounce, and there was nothing I could have done about it.
You get chickenpox, you survive chickenpox, and then you're just a ticking time bomb for when you do get shingles.
Yeah. There is a vaccine.
It's only for like people in their 60s.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like, and even though, but shingles, apparently people are getting them younger and younger. So maybe drop that age level and drop the price, because it's like $350.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I gotta say though, after a week of having it,
probably worth it.
Worth every penny.
Okay.
You know what else is worth every penny? This podcast, this free podcast we release every so often. I was about to say every week, but that is untrue.
And I would punch you if we had to put out an episode a week.
No, I would punch myself. Welcome back, however you wish to self-identify, to Nothing Movies, where we ask the question, the fuck is this? It's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made, and decide whether or not it's got a certain something, or if it's just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lasgard.
And I'm Jameson Rafter.
If it is...
I'm surprised you didn't introduce yourself as Kaz Shingles Lasgard.
Well, that's hurtful, Jameson. I had a serious affliction, and I'm not quite over it yet, and
it's wrong of me to make light of it.
It's wrong of you to bring it up.
It's wrong of me to make light of it. It's okay for you to make light of it.
Absolutely.
Because you've lived through it.
But I would never do that.
Okay.
And you will never record record me doing exactly that, and we will never release that in a medium that people can hear and play back. How's this bit going?
Fantastic.
Pretty great, huh?
Yeah, it's great.
Well, if you're listening to this podcast and it's the 5th of the month, that can only mean it's WrestleMania!
It's WrestleMania, brother.
And indeed, the brother is applicable to this episode because we are going back to the cinematic world of Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea with 2000...
It's Bollea.
Is it Bollea?
It's Bollea.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter because his name is Hulk Hogan. It's Hulk Hogan, and it's the year 1998 when this movie is released. It's McCinsey's Island, which is a bit of a step down from the last island-based movie that we watched Hulk Hogan
him,
in. You know, it's all, who owns this island? McKinsey? Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, the last island was only owned by, the devil. Heard of him?
Yeah. It's a damn shame that they never got around to making a third of those Shadow Warriors movies, because then we could close the book on that trilogy. This is more of like, well, what else did he do? And I just found like this.
We're going to go through what else he did. We're going to go through his entire career this time.
This is like one of those rightfully forgotten comedies that he did.
Yes. Comedy in quote.
Yeah.
Let's say that. But this movie did come out smack in the middle of the two Shadow Warriors movies.
Oh.
So, he was still very...
He shaved for the first Shadow Warriors movie, grew the mustache back for McKinsey's Island, and then shaved again.
And then somehow in between those two movies... He got really self-conscious about his hairline, because one of the things that I believe we've brought up in both of our Shadow Warriors episodes is that Hulk Hogan looks really bad in those movies. He's not wearing the bandana. He doesn't have the mustache. He has like a 5 o'clock stubble, but he doesn't have like the full mustache, and he just doesn't look like the Hulkster that we know. This movie, he never takes that bandana off.
No, he looks exactly like the Hulk Hogan you remember.
The opening scene of him in this movie is him snorkeling. He comes out of the water. First thing we see is the bandana slowly lowering out of the water. And then minutes later, it is dry as a bone. Because it's magic. But yes, McKinsey's Island. Yes, it's our third Hulk Hogan movie. But we're also revisiting some other old friends. Because it's also our second Grace Jones movie.
It is.
And our second Robert Vaughn movie. And we're also throwing in a couple of other wrestlers into the mix as well, too. Because there's a couple of them hiding in the wings in this one, too. So, yeah, it's a real family affair.
It really is, yeah. And I'm not happy that we did it. I mean, I knew we had to do something.
This was your choice, by the way. Well, and I'm glad you did.
I gave you a list of 3 because I found 3 movies from wrestlers that were free on YouTube, and you had to look at them and said like, I think I want to do McKinsey's Island the most.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, oh, fuck it, why not? I have no real dog in this fight.
And then you watched it and you're like, I should have put a dog in that fight. Oh, good lord.
I should have had a dog chase me out of the room or something so I didn't have to watch it.
Well, let's talk the Hulkster.
Let's talk about him, yeah.
Let's talk about him. A man who, totally not controversial at all. Nothing that he's done or said in the past that would cause us
You're being your usual coy self again, Kaz.
We can have a real... Look, in 2023, it's a little difficult to have a conversation with Hulk Hogan without at least mentioning the fact that he got into a wee bit of trouble about a decade ago for saying something on a sex tape that he shouldn't have said, and then that led to a bigger conversation about what necessarily is free speech.
And what constitutes as privacy between public figures.
It's a real gray area type of situation where you don't really want to come down too hard on one side or the other because then it just leads to the real... issues. I'm glad I'm front-loading the episode with this so we can get it off the table.
I mean, one thing that a lot of people who work in, or like ex-wrestlers or whatever, who said that one good thing that came out of that thing was that it really exposed the real Hulk Hogan. The Hulk Hogan that like people knew behind the scenes, because his persona during the WWE things was like he was the hero, the all-American good guy, and what he really was behind the scenes was a bit of an asshole. Not necessarily like an overt racist.
Yeah.
But what he really was a guy who had no problem screwing over anybody to rise up through the company.
I mean, look how shocked I am. Look at the shock on my face.
That could just be the residual shingles.
That could just be the fact that, it's a little hard to make faces currently right now.
I'm sorry, buddy.
No, it's fine. It's true. The shingler. But just like my dad calls me. But Yeah, look,
He's not a great guy.
If you have the choice to be racist or to not be racist,
always make the choice not to be
always
racist.
make the choice not to be racist. But the thing is, with racists, it's really hard to get them to not be racist. It does happen. It has happened before, but it's a lot of work. And it's still, like, nigh impossible, though, to change most people's beliefs. However, if you are in the privacy of your own home making an innocent sex tape with your buddy's friend, Bubba the Love Sponge, and you just so happen to say one of the worst words, and you're being... Actually, you know what? He wasn't making a sex tape. He was having sex with his friend's wife, and his friend knew it, but his friend was secretly taping. Bubba the Love Sponge was secretly taping him. Yeah. And so it's like he didn't even know he was being taped. So it's like he was being racist on his own time, which is not good. I want to front load this by saying not good. Don't do that. But also, it's kind of like the very least we can expect from all racists out there. If you are behind closed doors and you are not knowingly being filmed and know that film will end up on the internet at some point in time, that's maybe the safest place to be racist. Again, I would say don't be racist, but overall, if you must be racist the way Hulk Hogan was racist. Behind closed doors where no one can hear it. That's my take on that. Am I in trouble? I don't know. I feel like I'm in trouble.
You hear that, everybody? Kaz
I feel like just having that opinion.
Kaz went up to the mountaintops. He meditated on this. You hear that? Yeah, well said, Kaz.
All right.
There's other.
It's a bigger situation like that. There was other stuff going on. I don't know the nuances behind it.
Shit that happened between that whole thing. Like
I think the most disgusting thing, other than the horrible racist term that he said, was the moment where he like belched and he said, "Oh, I ate too much pork." I think not enough people talk about that aspect of the Hulk Hogan sex tape.
What is the funniest thing though? Was reading like the court deposition of the whole thing. His defense kind of rested on the fact that that was like sort of a kayfabe thing that he was doing.
Sure.
So
he was given the Twinkie defense.
So at one point, like the prosecutor asks him, like, "Now, did Terry Bolley? Did you say that?" "No, Hulk Hogan said that."
Right.
But you are Hulk Hogan. "No, I'm Terry Bolley."
Right.
Hulk Hogan is a character.
He pulled an Alex Jones a few years before Alex Jones pulled an Alex Jones. Yes, indeed.
Imagine during it.
I'm only racist when I eat too much pork. It's the thing. It gets my blood all fired up.
Oh god, that's not even like the best line or something. Was like now, did you yourself claim that you have a 10-inch penis? And Terry Bolley does not have a 10-inch penis. Hulk Hogan does. So there's court documents of him using that defense.
Unfortunately,
and he won. And Gawker is no longer a thing.
He did, and you know what? Good. Like I'm not. It was a good thing that came out of a bad thing.
Sure.
Again, he said a bad word, and he should be reprimanded for doing that. But also, I'm glad that Gawker doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. A horrible institution. Just this whole paparazzi thing. It's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard to see the humanity in those people.
Yeah.
Like the paparazzo going around just like disturbing people's lives, treating celebrities like they're not human beings. Don't like them.
No, they're not human. They're better than human beings.
Exactly. Yes,
we all know that.
Because they're richer and
better looking
and they have more muscles.
Yeah.
Just like Terry Bolley.
We can close the book on the Hulk Hogan Gawker scandal.
So yes, exactly. This is the definitive discussion on that particular thing that happened about a decade ago. So, Hulk Hogan, I only have his cinematic journey written down here. So do you have anything brief? Do you have anything brief to say about quite possibly the most famous wrestler of all time?
That we haven't already said in like our previous two, Hulk Hogan?
One of the most recognizable people in pop culture history.
I mean, I don't know. He's like synonymous with wrestling, but as I think the last 10 years have shown, there were probably more deserving talents out there, but he was just the guy that said, "I want to be like the number one face of the company. I want to be the guy who's doing the movies. I want to be the guy who's propped up and like hardly ever loses a match." Famously was the guy who lifted Andre the Giant to win WrestleMania 3.
Sounds tough.
Yeah.
Sounds hard. Large man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like, I can't really sing his praise too much, knowing what a fucking asshole he is.
Right.
But you can't deny that he had star power.
He paved the way for the wrestlers, superstars of today. Like, there would be... It's hard to think about, but truly, without a Mr. Nanny or a Santa with muscles, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's career would not exist. There would be no platform for him to step into Hollywood. So, yeah.
Yeah, and come to think of it, like, during that era of the 80s, there was a big push to somewhat legitimize pro wrestling in pop culture, because before then it was just, like, smaller territories doing these, like, tiny arena shows. And then when it became a thing, like a big thing where WWF owned most of those smaller territories and most of the talent, then it was like, okay, well, let's really prop this up, and to help legitimize it, let's get some actual Hollywood celebrities to, do guest spots like in the shows. I think Cyndi Lauper was one of the first big stars to sort of...
As a wrestler?
Not as a wrestler, but as a big star to lend their talents and just make appearances at those shows. And, like, she got it. She knew what it was all about and, like, how to really play it up. So she would, like, start yelling at, like, the other wrestlers and really getting caught up in the enthusiasm for it.
Now I'm just thinking, is that what the song She Bop is about? Wrestling.
I don't know.
Because it could be anything. Have you ever listened to that song?
No.
Utter nonsense. Just complete. You listen. You look at the lyrics, and you're just like, this doesn't mean anything. It could be about wrestling. It could be about anything.
Sure, but I'm just saying that in the 80s, like wrestling was part of the pop culture zeitgeist, and that bled over into, let's legitimize these talents where they're just these larger than life characters, and in addition to watching them in the live shows, you can check them out on TV. You can check them out on in movies and.
Well, I think that's a perfect transition for us to talk about Hulk Hogan's first role in a movie. This whole sort of like blending wrestling into other avenues of pop culture.
Are you talking about Rocky 3?
I'm talking about Rocky 3.
Yes, sir.
His debut movie, the third in the Rocky franchise, in which, near the beginning of the movie, Rocky, a boxer, famously a boxer...
a crossover match with a wrestler.
Played by Hulk Hogan.
As Thunder Lips.
Playing the role of Thunder Lips.
Terrible name.
It's a very weird section of that movie, that because Rocky is in, like, a charity event or something. This is it's not like a legitimate event or whatever. It's all like, let's get like the superstar from boxing and the superstar from wrestling and get them into a ring together. Which in this universe
we're establishing as an actual real pugilistic sport.
Yes, absolutely. And Hulk just throws Stallone around for a little bit, and then and then they smile for the camera and they shake hands, and that's it. And then he's out of the movie. It's just like a small little cameo. Now,
the funny thing about that is that Mr. T, who was the villain of Rocky 3, he did a couple of spots in wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. Famously, he had a match against Rowdy Piper in the very first WrestleMania.
Now, was that before or after Rocky 3?
I don't know. I should have looked into this.
Yeah.
I do know that there is a hilarious clip of Mr. T and Hulk Hogan doing a promo together where they're running through a grocery store looking at like all this health food. And
all right, we're going to get some protein, vitamins, iron, all the good stuff. I get the good stuff all the time. We can get the vitamins here. We're going to get the raisins. All right, get the raisin and nut. That's good. That's good.
No, T, there's a lot of good stuff in here, man. This is your place, huh?
That's right. That's right. You get the raisins. Raisins and nuts is good, man. Makes you hungry, makes you mean.
I heard these raisins will help all that hot protein and everything.
That's right.
Burn off quick,
it's
man.
that iron. Definitely. Right. Definitely. Finish the workout. We got to get good stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
Mr. T drops the lines. You got to get bananas. Bananas make you mean.
He eats bananas in this movie. Doesn't get mean. No, doesn't get mean. Gets a little tired.
Bananas are eaten.
He gets a little tired. I mean, like, Mr. T and Hulk Hogan are just like a natural pair. It's kind of a shame that they didn't do more things together. Those are just like two dudes with interesting looks, and you just
who had lives before they got famous.
Indeed, and you sort of want to you sort of want to have them
real people
play off of each other. Unfortunately, I don't think Mr. T has any scenes with Hulk Hogan in Rocky 3, so
I don't think so.
They didn't really capitalize on that, but they capitalized on it in the real world, in the ring.
Exactly.
Because I've definitely seen some footage of the two of them wrestling together.
Yep.
They might have been like
They've
a tag
done a couple
team at
of
one point. Following Rocky 3, he's in a 1983 movie called Bimini Code, or sometimes it's credited as Raiders of the Lost Code. trying to capitalize on another movie that came out in the 80s.
Just threading that needle.
Just threading the needle. He plays Rick, the blonde henchman. Then he takes a little bit of a break before his next movie. His next movie is in 1989. I'm assuming he's not taking a break. I'm assuming he's being one of the world's most famous wrestlers during that time. But his next movie is his first starring role. It's the 1989 film No Holds Barred.
Yeah, that's right. We discussed that last episode.
Yes, because Jesse Ventura also has a small role in that. Confusingly, this is a movie that has many actual wrestlers in it playing themselves, but Hulk Hogan is not playing himself.
That's right, yeah.
But he is more or less playing himself. He's playing a wrestler named Rip, who just so happens to look, dress, and behave exactly like famous superstar Hulk Hogan.
That movie is depicting the reality that the WWF wants their shows to be.
Yes.
You know, where when he goes home as Rip.
That was where it began.
Yeah. But that was also during the era before, like, Vince McMahon became, like, the chairman, evil guy who runs the business, and he was just the ringside announcer. So the concept of, like, an evil man running things behind the scenes in professional wrestling was such a foreign concept.
Yeah. Rip is the World Wrestling Federation champion who is faithful to his fans and the network he wrestles for. But Brell, the new head of the World Television Network, wants Rip to wrestle for his network. Ooh. Oh, what a plot. Yeah, okay, and then after that, he's in a lot of movies as himself, and I'm not going to mention all of them, but the one notable one that I am, in fact, going to mention, 1990's Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
He opens the movie with that, right?
He does not open the movie, no, but it's a very excellent fourth wall breaking cameo where the Gremlins are I believe it's somewhere near the middle, almost near the end of the movie, but the Gremlins are just going around there doing like crazy gremlin shenanigans, and then the Gremlins literally get into the projectionist booth and then stop the movie dead, and then the movie cuts to Hulk Hogan in a movie theater.
Let's hear you, Gremlins!
Yeah, watching the movie, and then he turns to the camera and says like, put that thing there,
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do, Gremlins? That's it. And then the movie continues from there. Gremlins 2, one of the wildest sequels to ever be made. A lot of fun, though.
Yeah. Those movies they're a blast.
Absolutely. I'm glad no one has ever attempted to make new Gremlins properties. There's a Gremlins cartoon show currently out right now.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay.
Doesn't look good. But then after that is where we really enter the Hulk Hogan leading man
starring
era.
vehicle.
For a very brief window. 1991, Suburban Commando.
Yeah.
Where he plays an alien bounty hunter from another galaxy who crash lands on Earth, and he has to hang out with this middle American family that is Christopher Lloyd and Shelley Duvall and their kids. And I believe they get into shenanigans. I believe other alien bounty hunters come for him or whatnot.
Like Abraxas.
It's a little like Abraxas. It's like a comedy Abraxas.
Yeah.
I'm either getting this movie or Mr. Nanny confused. I think it's Suburban Commando. This is the movie. You know what? This is important. But I mean, his next movie is Mr. Nanny. 1993 is Mr. Nanny. Sharm Armstrong, where he plays like some sort of like tough guy who
has to look after kids.
He has to look after kids. The Pacifier. 10 years before The Pacifier, but I have to...
But I was going to say, did that create the genre? But no, Kindergarten Cop created that genre.
Yes.
Tough guy looking after kids?
Yeah. Yes, Kindergarten Cop did... Yes, everything was following in the footsteps of Kindergarten Cop. That is Mr. Nanny. Okay, Mr. Nanny... I was about to miscredit this to Suburban Commando, but Mr. Nanny is possibly the most famous currently right now for being the movie where an extra in the background throws his dog into the water. That's the movie. There is one scene, the director has been on credit and saying like that wasn't like an extra or anything like that. That was just something that the camera caught.
Picked up.
And it's Hulk Hogan is on his motorcycle
stroking his mustache.
And he just happens to pass a guy on the beach who just throws his dog into the water. It's a big dog. I'm sure the dog is fine. Yeah. It's not deep water or anything. No. It's just an odd thing that the camera happened to capture.
We don't know the backstory
We don't know anything about
it. We need to do the whole JFK assassination footage. Yes. Find that back. See if maybe that dog was on fire. I don't know.
Possibly. Then he has a trilogy of movies. The Thunder in Paradise trilogy, which, and I meant to look this up before we started recording, and I clearly haven't. Is that like a tag team situation? Is that like a failed TV show that they split up into?
I assumed that it was season 1 of a TV show, or maybe it was like a TV movie. I think it might have been similar to the Shadow Warriors franchise, a series of made-for-TV movies.
Okay, it says here on Wikipedia that it was a season of television that lasted 22 episodes.
Okay.
But IMDb also has it listed as 3 individual movies. So I think what they might have done is they might have chopped and channeled and edited some of this footage into, like, 3 straight-to-VHS movies for, like, the blockbuster rental crowd that were, like, eager for more Hulk.
Okay.
You know, because before the era of streaming or whatever, you could basically do whatever you wanted to a TV show. You could take a couple of episodes, throw it on a VHS tape, and say, this is a movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is what happened here. But Thunder in Paradise, where he unfortunately is not playing Thunderlips from Rocky 3.
Nuts.
He's not playing a Thunder-based character at all. He's playing R.J. Hurricane Spencer.
Okay.
So I don't know where the thunder comes into it. I guess he brings the thunder?
We're going to have to watch the movie to find out.
We might have to. Good thing we have a wrestling-related segment on this podcast.
Exactly.
But yeah, he does that from 1993 to 1995. He does the Thunder in Paradise series. 1996,
Including
he's
a game spin-off, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, there was
Like
like
a CD-ROM game?
Yeah, with like the full motion video type thing where he like talks to the camera or something. Yeah,
I'm sure that's
something
fantastic.
terrible like that. You know what? We'll do an episode on that. Just
Review
the video game.
FMVs.
Absolutely. We keep this going for long enough. That's
gonna-
what we're gonna have to do. All right, 1996. He's in 2 movies from the same director. One of them is called The Secret Agent Club. A secret agent masquerades as a toy seller, successfully concealing his alter ego even from his young son, until on a daring mission, he's captured by an evil arms dealer, and then it falls to his inexperienced offspring to save the day. So it sounds like a movie that Hulk Hogan's not actually in all that much.
Is he the secret agent that gets kidnapped? Or is he
I would have to assume.
Okay.
We can see, what I like about this poster is that you can see Hulk Hogan in both his secret agent guise and his toy maker guise. One of the 2 of them seems to have slightly more hair than the other one does. So it's pretty funny. Like his toy maker guise, he's clearly combed his hair back, and he's really letting his bald spot shine in that.
Yeah.
But I guess when he's a secret agent, he combs it forward, because he has a lot more hair.
Or he puts on a bald cap or something, or...
That's how deep. That's how
the
deep
bit.
he is into this. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that sounds fun. But the director of that also directed 1996's Santa with Muscles.
Yes, infamously bad
Yes.
movies.
Do you know the plot of Santa with Muscles?
Oh, I think the Red Letter Media guys reviewed it, so
Oh, yeah?
let me see if I can recall. Isn't he like a mean business owner? But then he gets amnesia and he thinks he's Santa Claus.
He thinks he's Santa Claus. It's interesting though. He made his fortune marketing health food and health supplements.
Which has got to explain why he's...
I did. You know what?
Maybe-
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I guess that makes
all
sense.
these fucking
Yeah.
movies have to justify
Right.
why is this like
Exactly.
hulking
Yeah.
like wrestler figure just doing like a day-to-day job?
Yeah.
Right?
It's the thing
Oh,
that
he's a former Marine. Oh, he wheels and deals health food.
I mean, you said it right there. Just say that he's a former Marine.
Yeah.
I feel like that just explains every situation whenever you have to cast one of these beefcakes in like a regular person role.
Exactly.
1997, he's on Assault on Devil's Island, aka
right.
Shadow Warriors.
Exactly.
Which is where his career really kicks off, as we have noted.
Yep. That was one of our first WrestleMania episodes.
That was I believe that was our second WrestleMania episode. 1998, he's very busy. He has this movie, McCinsey's Island. He's in a movie.
He wasn't that busy in this movie.
He showed up.
Yeah.
He showed up. He memorized most of his lines.
Yep. He
Some
did.
of them he came up with on the spot, clearly.
He lived up to his
Yeah.
obligations, but that's about it.
And then he's in a movie from the director of the 2 Shadow Warriors movies that's unfortunately unconnected to the Shadow Warriors universe. It's a very generic movie called The Ultimate Weapon. Mercenaries Ben and Vince are assigned to destroy a stolen military arms cache held by a group of terrorists. Yeah, it's got a very generic sort of plot, and unlike the Shadow Warriors movies, there's no Shannon Tweed or Carl Weathers. There's not even a Martin Cove.
Damn.
There's no one in this movie other than Hulk Hogan. It's just Hulk Hogan and then a bunch of nobodies. But then in 1998, he capped things off with 3 Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Yeah.
One of the great sort of joke movie titles of all time until you realize, no, that is in fact an actual movie.
An excellent closing chapter of the Three Ninjas trilogy.
Quadrilogy, I think
Oh,
you'll find.
no.
This was the 4th Three
Oh,
Ninjas
really?
movie,
Oh,
following
okay.
Three Ninjas Kickback, and Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. Ooh, that has not great connotations
Are
these
you
days.
sure
Three
that's part of the
Ninjas,
same-
Knuckle Up. That is, oh boy. Maybe the less said about that, the
Knuckle
better.
up.
But he plays a character named Dave Dragon, and he's a retired TV star who makes his farewell appearance at the theme park Mega Mountain. And then the ninjas arrive, and there's a villain named Medusa. Yeah, this movie sounds batshit. And then 1999, he has a cameo in Muppets from Space as Hollywood Hogan. He plays like a man in black who's like working for Jeffrey Tambor, the villain in that, but also notably, he is himself. I believe Gonzo is all like, get Gonzo out of here. And then Gonzo's like, Hollywood Hogan, what are you doing here? And then he's like, it's a living or something like that. Just that brief period in time where, like that year and a half where Snoop Dogg forced us all to call him Snoop Lion. And we were all like, sure, we'll definitely do
Pop
that.
culture's getting weird.
We'll definitely do that, Hollywood Hogan.
Sure.
How long did that last? How long was that period?
When he was part of NWO, I don't fucking know. Too long.
Too long.
Yeah,
and not long enough.
It took a matchup between him and The Rock for them to realize, Hulk works better as a good guy.
Sure. And then
even
also,
though he kind of relished being a bad guy after, I don't know, a fucking.
well,
Okay.
it was the inner bad guy inside of him trying to get out.
That's right. Yeah.
Speak your truth, brother. And then also in 1999, he's in Shadow Warriors 2, Assault on Death Mountain. Check out our episode under the title Shadow Warriors, Brother. Something that we did not, I think, mention on that episode is that movie is basically Hulk Hogan's last leading role in a movie.
Really?
For like ever. He's in some other stuff after that, but it takes
Probably just as himself.
it takes a really long time for him to get back into any sort of movie. So yeah, 1999 Assault on Death Mountain. He's not in another movie until 2009 with Little Hercules, where he plays the role of Zeus. Naturally.
Okay, so he's probably in more than just one scene, right?
I would think so. He is on the cover for this.
Of course.
He's
the star power.
He is the star power. He's the only one on the poster for this. He is reflected in a sword, so he's not actually on this here. But he is the only...
But he's not playing Hercules.
No, he is the only person who is above the title, even though this movie also stars Big Show, Judd Nelson, John Hurd, most of Hulk Hogan's actual family, and my favorite credit, Elliot Gould as Socrates.
Well, so stay tuned for that
Put
upcoming
that
episode.
on the docket. That is happening.
Wow.
And then just to wrap things up here, 2011, he's a voice in Romeo and Juliet. He's voicing the Terraforminator, which I believe is some sort of lawn mowing contraption that all the lawn gnomes are like, oh no, we have to run.
Okay.
He plays Mr. Macbeth in something called Zombie Hamlet from 2012. Didn't do any research on that. Gotta tell you, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And the most. Sorry, did you have anything to say about Zombie Hamlet?
No, I think it says it all right there.
It says everything there. And his most notable film role in the past decade and a half is the 2017 documentary Nobody Speak: Trials of the Free Press, which you can watch on Netflix and is all about him taking down Gawker. Other than
Atomic Leg Drop, yeah.
other than the sex tape, that's the most. That's the most
widely watched.
That's the most relevant thing that Hulk Hogan has made in a significant amount of time.
Wow.
Other than his reality show with his family.
Yeah.
Hogan knows best.
But they did for a while.
But did he? Did he know best?
Certainly not.
No, not
Certainly
in these
not.
situations. All right, well,
You know, it's
there
a
we
damn,
go.
It's a damn shame they never made a third Shadow Warriors movie. They're at that point now where
Do
like
it now.
They can do that third 20 years way too late after
Yes.
the fact legacy sequel.
The legacy
where, like,
sequel.
You know, they're all old and like.
What's funny is if they do it now, the star power is Carl Weathers and Martin Cove.
Yes.
Who are on 2 successful TV shows currently right now.
I know,
It's
right?
Shannon Tweed and the Hulkster that
They're
need
kinda falling on hard
the
times
bump
a
up
little,
and everything.
yeah.
What I've always thought was weird is that Hulk Hogan had a reality show with his family.
Yeah.
Shannon Tweed was on her husband's reality show with
Right.
her family. They were in movies together. It was a spin-off. Get Gene Simmons to move next door to Hulk Hogan's family.
They can reminisce about the time
Hogan's in
on-
Tweed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shadow Neighbors. That's a free idea, world. Make it happen.
I can just imagine like the most awkward barbecue where like no one has nothing to talk about.
No one,
there.
yeah, exactly.
Just like clashing with Gene Simmons
Yeah.
and like yeah.
I don't know if we...
Who's that one... what was that guy's name?
Mike White.
Mike White.
Mike White played Derek, yes.
Bring that guy back.
Just do the Derek spinoff. That's what we want to see.
That's the natural place where a third movie would have gone to. Cover that guy's fucking backstory.
Absolutely.
No one gives a shit about Hogan and Carl Weathers and Janet Teeman anymore. And especially since Derek does all the fucking work.
Absolutely. Just make a Derek movie now. Mm-hmm. You can still get Martin Kove, because Martin Kove famously will be in literally everything. Mm-hmm. He's like he has a career of Eric Roberts purposes. He will say Martin Kove will be in your shitty movie. He will do it. And Carl Weathers, as we've already established, is just in it for a free meal.
That's right. He's gonna find the loophole at the airport so cash out the wrong airline tickets.
All right. Well, I think we've spun our wheels enough. We'll take a little break here, and when we come back, we'll tell you about this island paradise.
We're gonna take a trip to McCinsey's island.
Who's McKinsey? Why does he have an entire island? And we'll answer all of these questions and more. You know what?
And post several more questions.
Yes. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everybody. Monday, May 1st, the Writers Guild of America, the national organization representing television and film screenwriters across the United States, voted to call an industry strike following 6 weeks of failed contract negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The WGA currently represents 11,500 writers across the entertainment industry. Under strike rules, members have ceased all work on current shows and won't go into negotiations on future projects. This means an entire industry worth of professionals have no work and will stop getting paid and will lose crucial benefits should the strike continue. The effects of the strike will reverberate far beyond the writers' rooms. As productions halt, so too will the opportunities and pay for the industry workers, including cinematographers, hair and makeup teams, and countless others who work behind the scenes. In the face of these challenges, WGA members are asking those who can't lend a hand or lift a sign in person to donate to industry-wide resiliency funds instead. The Entertainment Community Fund, formerly known as the Actors Fund, was founded in 1882 to support the needs of entertainment professionals at a time of social and charitable snubbing of the theater industry. In the 141 years since, the organization has expanded its services to provide an array of programs for anyone working in film, theater, television, music, radio, and dance. The fund offers social services and financial assistance, housing support, health insurance, benefits counseling, and so much more. Donations to the EFC will go right to supporting programs that foster stability and resiliency and provide a safety net for performing arts and entertainment professionals over their lifespan. If you would like to learn more about the Entertainment Community Fund or to make a donation, please do so by visiting their website at entertainmentcommunity.org. Again, that website is entertainmentcommunity.org. Well, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. So McKinsey's island. Who's McKinsey? It's a guy.
Yeah.
Has some jewels. It's not even really his island.
No.
It's McKinsey's treasure more than anything else.
He's a dead guy.
He just died on an island. Mm-hmm. Believe me, I have a lot of questions about that.
Died doing what he loved. We'll explain what in just a second.
He died doing what he loved. Hurting marine life. So McKinsey's Island. It's directed by Sam Furstenberg, who is a big director in the Canon Films era of movies that we love, our beloved films.
Even though we've only ever covered one.
We need to catch up on our Canon. This is Canon adjacent.
It is.
I'm gonna run down a chunk of these guys' movies. I'm omitting some movies. He didn't make all of these back to back to back. I just want to run down this run of movies just to point out what a concise, perfectly edited movie career this guy had. This guy knew what he was all about. So, starting off with 1983, he directs Revenge of the Ninja. 1984, Ninja 3, The Domination. 1985, American Ninja. 1987, American Ninja 2, The Confrontation. 1992, American Samurai. 1993, Cyborg Cop. 1994, Cyborg Cop 2. This guy knew what kind of movies he was good at making, and he leaned into it, and I appreciate it.
High-octane action, probably with some good fight sequences.
And you gotta get some. If you can throw a ninja in there, I would really appreciate it.
Take a page out of Laser Mission's book and throw in a ninja if you need to.
I know
if you want to.
I know this script doesn't necessarily call for a ninja, but if you could throw
a ninja
that would be great. But I am, of course, burying the lead because the important movie in this man's filmography that we must discuss, in 1984 for Canon Films, he directed a little movie called Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, which is a movie that almost no one has seen.
I've seen it.
But, oh, you have?
I have seen
it. Oh, my God.
Yeah, back when I was working at EA, they had a video library, and they had it, and I was like, I've always heard of this movie because of this ridiculous title. Let's check it out. And I watched it, and I was like, whoa.
Have you seen the original Breakin'?
I have not.
Right.
No, but I saw an insane Technicolor sequel where it's about them trying to save the community center.
You Breakin' 2. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, yes, that movie's legacy is less about a movie that people have seen and remembered, and is more just like the jokiest title of all joke titles, where for the longest amount of time, if you wanted to pitch an ironic sequel to something, you would give it the tagline Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, you would have like so many other qualifiers, and then if you're just running out of steam,
Right.
Electric Boogaloo.
And I feel like it held that crown for a decently long time, probably right up until Too Fast, Too Furious came out. I feel like that sort of like stole Electric Boogaloo's thunder, but you still hear about it every now and then. It still like pops. It's called Electric Boogaloo. Starring a man named Alfonso Shabadoo. You're not going to forget about that anytime soon.
That's Ozone, I believe.
Yeah. What I didn't realize about the Breakin' series, as it was, is that there is, in fact, a third movie that never gets talked about because it's not from any of the... It's only from the same producers. It doesn't have any of the same cast in it. And it does away with the whole Breakin' title scheme. The third movie in this trilogy apparently is called Rappin'. So it
led... Then, like, gotta wrap it up.
Gotta wrap up this trilogy here.
I'm sure.
And I of course led me to the question of all like, well, then how is it a sequel to the Breakin' universe if it's not called Breakin' and it doesn't have any of the cast members in it? And I looked it up. The one thing that unites all three of these Breakin' movies, I didn't realize that, is Ice-T. He is in all three of those movies playing a somewhat version of himself. And in all three of those movies, he has like a little bit of a rap break.
Really?
He is the connective tissue that ties together the Breakin' trilogy.
Huh.
Yeah, who knew?
I certainly didn't. I saw one of those movies.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, the other notable thing about Breakin' 2 is that it's a movie that was put into production so fast it came out the same year as Breakin' 1. Which doesn't happen all that often anymore. Probably for good reason. But anyway, I like this guy. I like this director. I'm gonna watch some of these other movies. I've heard very good things about Ninja 3: The Domination. It's apparently one of those one of those great, so bad it's good you gotta see these movies.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle of like those early to like mid-canon films where they're just knocking them out of the park. Yeah, you get exactly what you want out of a movie like that.
Right. Well, he also directed this movie, and I say directed in quote. There's lots of things in quotes here. Well, let's get into it right away. Because I texted you while I was watching this earlier today.
You said you're 4 minutes in and you already had a bunch of notes.
I had half a page of notes at 4 minutes in because there was
my first
holy crap.
4 notes are all about like the opening credits.
I agree. Yes. I love it when they credit him as Terry Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Because the Hulk is always in quotes, and with the Hulk being in quotes, it is set to imply that Hogan is the real part of his name.
Well, yeah, his name is not Terry Hogan.
His name is not Terry Hogan. Yes.
So it should be Terry Hulk Hogan Balia, or just go as Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
What? Pick either one of those two would have been fine. Right?
But these are dramatically intense opening credits for a silly fluffball of a movie like McKinsey's Island.
Oh, God.
I mean, there's some serious shit happening in the opening moment. I mean, this is the only time we see the titular McKinsey, as he is dying slowly and painfully, it looks like,
he's on a beach, and it looks to us like he is carving a map out of a rock with a knife.
Or something. Some sort of hard material that he's carving it into, possibly like a chest or something like that. His hand is bleeding, and yes, he
marks the year 1876.
Right, so he could copyright it.
Yeah.
So you could copyright the map, so no one could steal it after the fact. But yes, McKinsey, you know, we are led to believe that he has some sort of treasure. We see a big jewel. A big red diamond, ruby. That's what those are called. On his thing. He's carving a map into something. And then the map starts moving, and we go, oh dear.
He's carved it into the back of a living sea turtle.
Which dives into the water away from this madman. McKinsey dies in the opening credits, and I just want to reiterate, I'm sure people weren't necessarily thinking about this back in the day, but of course, I think we all now know that turtles feel shit through their shells.
Yeah, that's part of their fucking body.
That's part of their body, and you basically just gave him
it's not tree bark.
It's not. It's massive scars. You just gave him massive scarring.
Yeah,
he was probably screaming his head off the entire time. But thankfully, the other thing we realize very quickly is that while there are a lot of animals in this movie, an alarming amount of animals in this movie, the one animal that I don't think they sourced was an actual turtle. No turtles were harmed in the making of this movie because I don't think any turtles were on the set of this movie.
I don't think that's the kind of beach where the sea turtles would go.
No.
They're like more Caribbean based, and I think this movie takes place around the Florida Keys. I don't fucking know. I'm not a geography man.
It's a little hard to tell where we are based on the animal
thing. It's okay to tell when we are, though.
Indeed, yes.
They spell that out.
But every scene involving the turtle is off camera.
Like pulled by a string.
Yeah, well, and like the one time we see it going under the waves, it's very clearly like a fake turtle that someone is moving around on their own.
Yeah, thankfully,
thank goodness,
some wildlife conservation person was there to be like, wait, what do you want to do for this movie? Fuck you.
Wait, this is the first thing you want to do in this movie? This is how you want to set the table?
It is.
Turtle torture?
It's not the first shot, because can I just talk about these credits
real quick? Go ahead.
All right, so these are some jarring fucking edits in this. So, like, it blindsides you with how jarring these cuts are. Because they'll show, say, like, seagulls flying in the sky for like 3 to 4 seconds, and then they'll show some crashing waves for 3-4 more seconds, and then quick cut to like a shot of a beach for half a second, and then it cuts to the title. It keeps jumping back and forth between a comfortable amount of establishing shots of scenery, and then it's like the guy in the editing bay left in something that he took out, but he didn't go far enough on like the timeline bar. I do a lot of fucking video editing, so I have to catch and be mindful of these sorts of things. My God, these guys are showing so many like quick flashes of other scenes that were probably meant to be on the cutting room floor, but they're not.
It kind of gives you the impression that like we are witnessing McKinsey's final moments. Like it's the final moments of a dying man who, like, his brain functioning is starting to fail him or whatever. So all he's doing is just seeing like images. It's just all like, oh, sea, oh, everything's going dark, seagulls. I don't know what's going on. Like, there's sand here. My turtle friend. I'm dead now.
Well, if that's the intention, then I appreciate the effort.
It was really,
yeah, that's what you were doing.
It was
it wasn't a technical fuck.
No, it was setting a consistent tone for the rest of this movie, which is very serious and not at all goofy at all.
That one section where the screen went completely dark for a frame, and then came back, and then quickly cut to a black frame with the titles on it. Yeah, that was intentional.
Well, that was where they were.
Meant to do that.
They were cutting to commercial. So we're introduced to our hero, Joe. I didn't write down his last name.
It's Hulk Hogan.
It's Hulk Hogan. Joe Hogan.
Terry Hulk Hogan.
Terry Hogan. Joe.
Yeah.
Joe guy. But Joe, he's introduced, as I mentioned earlier, snorkeling with his bandana on. Yeah. That bandana is never removed once, and he is in certain situations where you might think maybe you should take that off. He does not. That was in his contract. It stays on my head.
He's swimming in the water. He's like doing he's snorkeling. Whatever. Yeah. And these two jet ski guys buzz him, and they go by to a beach where they run into that turtle.
Right. Well, they say that they ran into a turtle. We, the audience, do not see it. We see them looking at something, but But
they knew from like miles away that if they go in this direction long enough, they're going to hit that on. They're going to find that specific turtle. Well, and Hogan swims after him and confronts them on the beach.
I just want to clarify about this because it is truly insane. What happens is the jet ski bros, they get onto the beach, they walk over to this tree, and their interaction literally is just like, oh, hey, look, dude, it's a turtle. Cool, let's flip it over. That's how fast it goes. That is how immediate they go. Who fucking does that?
Assholes.
Again,
Assholes
I'm a different sort of person. If I were on a beach and I was able to see a turtle, I would just be as quiet as possible. I would just be all like, oh, God's majesty. Oh, God. Oh, with nature and everything like that. These guys are just like, but it's just like, let's immediately flip this thing on its back. Despite the fact that, as we soon find out, it's got a fucking treasure map on its back.
So if you're gonna flip over any turtle, it'll probably be that turtle.
Exactly, but like they're immediately not interested in the most interesting thing about this turtle. It's all like, let's ignore that, see what it's got going on under here.
Yeah. So Hogan shows up and he's like, well, that's a protected species, brother. What you gonna do when the Hulkster runs wild on you?
The actual dialogue from the movie.
And he calls him out for like, oh, and I bet those jet skis are stolen too. And I'm like, I'm sorry, are you a cop?
Well,
like,
no.
What are you doing?
Well, no, what he says is interesting, which led me down a rabbit hole. He says, by the way, you were speeding.
Yeah.
You were speeding on the jet ski, which is fine. Now, I will concur with the fact that you can go too fast on a jet ski.
Sure, yeah.
You can be unsafely fast on a jet ski. You can't slow down. You could crash into somebody and hurt yourself.
I'm sure there are posted speed limits and advised speed limits.
It's just funny to say to someone who was on a jet ski that they were speeding, a thing that you are supposed to go very fast on. But yeah, did you happen to notice, because you're more of the wrestling fan, Jameson, one of these jet ski bros is a wrestler?
Yes, I did. Ed Leslie, a.k.a. Brutus Beefcake, a.k.a. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who was a former best friend of Hulk Hogan.
Which I would...
And then turns out, like, years down the line, yeah, he writes fucking tell-all books about Hulk Hogan, and he hates Hulk Hogan.
I would. If I were in that situation, I would do exactly the same thing.
Ooh.
Maybe there's a chapter of their time on McCinsey's Island in there. Who knows?
He had many gimmicks throughout the years.
Well, given the fact that his name is, like, several names.
Yeah, well, like, his most famous one was the Barber, where he would, like, shave people's heads at the end of matches.
I only recognize the name because on a previous WrestleMania, I'm certain you said Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's a name that's gonna stay in my brain.
I'm gonna remember that
on my deathbed, I'll be like, Barber Beefcake, and you're like, what's Grandpa saying?
So yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna have kids.
So Hogan and Brutus Beefcake have a wrestling match,
and the third guy,
and the other guy, they have a fight. They are interrupted by the arrival of Billy, who hucks a coconut at one of the guys.
Several coconuts, which again can kill you. That's very dangerous. But no, they just hucks a coconut in their head, and we get like the cartoon Flintstone sound effect. Yeah, a lot of cartoon sound effects in this movie.
So Hogan and his friend Billy, they chase off the two crumb bums.
Did you get the idea that Billy was supposed to be a lot younger than he was in this movie?
This is an adult.
Everyone is referring to this to the character of Billy as like kid and child, and like get that boy out of here.
He's like 25, 26.
They cast like a 32-year-old man in this role. It's very this character, and one scene that we are going to get to eventually, it's one of the hackier things to compare a bad movie on a podcast to The Room. This guy was giving me real Denny vibes.
Yeah.
In the sense
haircut
that,
wasn't helping.
No, it's not. I'm like, this is a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
But every line of dialogue he has is meant to imply that he's meant to be, I don't know, 12? Something like that? I don't know. And again, there's lots of talk these days about, like, should kids be allowed to be in movies? It kind of like fucks with their heads with a little bit like that. But you're watching something like this, I'm like, really? They couldn't get a kid? They couldn't get a kid for this role where it's clearly meant to be a child?
You could put out a casting call. I'm sure there would be thousands of kids in the 80s or the 90s who wanted to be in
because that's the classic archetype. You get the big buff wrestler and everything like that, and he's friends to children. He has a little sidekick that causes mischief and mayhem. But no, we have this grown-ass man who's been paying taxes for well over a decade.
With the findings that he has with his metal detector. Well, actually, he does find the old ruby ring. So he's wearing the
ruby ring.
The ring pop size ring for the duration of the movie. They find the turtle. Hogan drops the line.
Looks like cuts made by a human.
It says 1876.
I mean,
no fucking way.
No, a shark bit that date into
This looks
shell.
like robot crime to me, if you're asking me.
Billy is very curious about Hogan's origin. He doesn't know who Hogan was.
Wouldn't you be if you were on an island with someone who looked and talked like that? I would want to know, what's your deal?
I would steer clear.
Please explain your entire deal to me right now.
So he says, "Oh, I'm a marine biologist," and like bullshit. He walks him back to his Jeep, and his Jeep blows up in one of the movie's few explosions.
Right. And, Hogan clearly came from the set of Shadow Warriors, where things were blowing up every 2 seconds, because this explosion does not faze him one bit. He couldn't be less concerned that his car, his property that he owned, and in a line of dialogue later on states that he liked, he liked that truck. It explodes, and he's still like, I guess I'll take one of the jet skis. See you later. I gotta go.
Another man's jet ski.
I gotta get on. There's a lot of this bullshit movie I still have to do.
Gotta get to.
Let's go. That does raise the question. Whose jet skis were those?
Because you saw the movie more recently than I did. Did he imply that those guys stole their jet skis?
I don't think he implied that they did, but
he certainly stole those jet skis.
He stole the jet skis from Beefcake and the other guy. And then he says we need to drop these jet skis. No, he says I need to go home. What did he say? Oh, he says I need to get this film developed. You, my youthful friend, I need you to bring both of these jet skis to the police station.
How do you propose he does?
Which closes in like 5 minutes. You'll be fine, right?
I'm gonna head home to develop this film. And you, my friend, take the skis to the police department.
Well, it's almost 4 o'clock. The station closes in a couple of minutes.
And then they just keep these jets, and the entire time I'm all like, were these rented? Mm-hmm. Is there someone wanting these back at some point? And it's just all like, no, they just own them now. Mm. They just own these jet skis.
You just left Brutus Beefcake and the other guy for dead on this.
And we do find out later that Brutus and the other guy were working for the villain of this or whatever. So, you know, like, they're not good people. Mm. They flipped a turtle over, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But still, I question the ownership of these jet skis. So Hogan goes back to his house, his beachfront house, which looks very similar to the one that he had in Shadow Warriors.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And he says hi to his roommate, who is a little tiny parrot, little tiny budgie.
Named Deep Six, the parrot.
Yeah, which is an odd name for a bird.
If Hogan's giving it to him, I think that makes a little bit of sense. And this parrot never shuts the fuck up.
That bird needed to shut the fuck up.
It's about time, pretty boy. Let me in.
Are you hungry?
Give me food. Now, food. Invader. Here it comes. Get ready.
I know who did it.
Who did it?
Okay, Walter. I'm waiting.
Me too, waiting for food,
Can't believe it.
Oh, it took so long. Morning, breakfast. Sausage.
I was very thankful when midway through the movie he leaves the bird with a friend. So I'm all like, I'm really glad this bird is in this fucking movie.
I mean, it's bad enough that it's doing like the Polly want a cracker.
It's doing the classic bird thing,
but it's also doing with like a weird kind of high pitched filter on it, so it's even more annoying. And they just said to the actor, just go.
Right.
Just here's the context of the scene. You've asked Hogan for food, but he's having a dialogue with another person. You do not shut the fuck up about how the fact that you need food.
And it's the classic overdubbed thing for an animal thing where it's like when actual parrots mimic speech behavior and stuff like that, like their beaks are open. Mm-hmm. This bird is silent the entire time. Every shot of this bird, the bird is just sitting there minding its own bird business. Doesn't have a thought in its head.
Well, it's not even the kind of
It's not even the kind of bird
that would be able to mimic speech.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a much smaller.
It's an island songbird or whatever, right?
Exactly. They couldn't even get that right. But yes, Deep Six the parrot, who's around in these scenes.
And you notice him. He's a very tiny bird, but he makes his presence known. Fuck, I hated that stupid.
And then this is where we meet basically the second lead of this movie, good old Robert Vaughn.
Now, I thought for sure that he was going to be the villain.
Because he's the villain in literally every movie.
Yeah. What the fuck are you doing casting Robert Vaughn as anything but the villain in this?
And throughout this movie, there is time, because he's like a character that has lots of secrets.
Yeah.
And he keeps them all close to his chest. He doesn't reveal any of them.
And he's aware of Hogan's past.
Absolutely. And midway through the movie, I'm just all like, okay, if it doesn't turn out that Robert Vaughn is like secretly evil or something,
what are we doing?
This is the stupidest fucking movie I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, it's up there. It's up there. But no, he plays Walter Denkins, or as Hulk says after flipping him over, which would absolutely turn Robert Vaughn's bones to dust.
Yeah.
In this thing, he introduces this character by going, Walter Denkins, which is how I greet all of my old friends.
When you haven't seen him.
I say that I shout their full first and last name.
He wants to tell him that their old nemesis, Alonzo Richter, is back on the scene. And spoiler alert, Hulk Hogan was a former special ops guy.
That's not a spoiler.
Okay.
Look at him.
So he was a special ops person, but he's retired now.
He was a secret agent, and he made toys, and then he got kidnapped, and sorry.
So Robert Vaughn says, like, hey, we were working in the agency together, and the one crook that always got away from us, Alonzo Richter, he's back on this island. He's seeking out McCinsey's treasure, specifically like that's on this island. I came here because I want your help for it. And Hogan over and over again says, no, I'm retired. I gave up that license. I'm retired. Even though I'm a good 30, 40 years younger than Robert Vaughn, I've retired from this line of work.
Vaughn's a lifer. Vaughn, he will drop to, even though, as is evidenced by him in this movie, absolutely hates doing anything. Robert Vaughn does not like to do any sort of physical activity whatsoever, and yet he insists that he comes along on this island adventure.
God, he is like the most frustrating kind of annoying character in this movie.
I really liked him. I liked him a lot.
Because, like, he coerces Hogan and another person that we're going to get into.
Yeah, we will.
He kind of coerces them into, like, going on this fucking, okay, well, Alonzo's after this treasure, so rather than, like, I don't know, like, use some surveillance gear or satellite technology to track down where they are, we're going to find this treasure. And then we're going to wait for them at the treasure to arrest them. But to get to the treasure, we're going to have to go, like, through, like, 15 miles of jungle switchback. I need a lot of bricks. So he hates doing any kind of physical work, but he's totally 100% responsible for bringing these people along.
Motherfucker!
And also, he's incredibly competent at navigation.
Oh, yeah, but more than any other character. But yeah, like, the second they start, like, walking through the jungle, he immediately starts complaining, and I'm just like, motherfucker, this was your plan.
Yeah.
You're the one that set this into motion.
Hogan was happily retired.
He would have been happy to not do, any of this shit. And, like, he has, like, this unexplained back problem. Sometimes he has to sit down, sometimes he has to stand. It doesn't really, look, it's either one or the other. Like, it's not, I don't know.
I mean, like, I hated Walter Dickens, and I have to feel like, at least in most of this movie, Robert Vaughn, I just never felt more embarrassed for an actor watching these movies that we've been doing.
The same year that McCinsey's Island comes out, he's also in the movie that I'm pretty certain introduced to me to Robert Vaughn as an actor. He's the villain in Basketball.
Yeah.
And he has to, I think Robert Vaughn had a pretty good sense of humor about himself.
I would
Because he
hope
was
so.
in a lot of these shitty fucking movies, and he always seemed game for whatever people had him do in that. You know,
there's that one scene where he's got the backward baseball cap on and the two glasses, and he's like flirting with a woman, and she's like, "Get away from me, you old man!" And I'm like,
his way of flirting with women, which is him going, "Hi, hi, 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 hi." I was so confused by that. Yeah, he's talking to Hogan on the beach. He's trying to convince him to do the mission or whatever. He's like mid-sentence, a woman in a bikini walks by, and he just stops what he's saying immediately and just goes, "Hi, hi, 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 hi," and it's old ass Robert Vaughn, and she just immediately goes like, "Ew," and like, "Leave me alone," and it's all like, wait, is he meant to be like a ladies' man?
Yeah. No, he's just a dirty old man.
Never brought up again. Never. It's not like he's like constantly like hitting on women. Yeah, it's just like one of many. That must have been like a Robert Vaughn improv.
Yeah.
That they did. All improv was valid and included in the final cut of this movie. All right, so Hogan goes to town.
Yeah.
He goes to the small little town of whatever the fuck island he's on. It's not McCinsey's Island.
No, but
it's an unnamed island paradise that's primarily white people. Yep. I don't really know what to think of it.
Yeah.
Again, it might be like the Florida Keys. You're right.
Sure. Yeah. Even there's like tons of steel drum music playing nonstop.
Oh god, like that's the only score. You mean the only
that
score?
That one song.
Yeah. Throughout the entire fucking movie.
Yeah. He's
it's like a travel video soundtrack or whatever. Yeah.
So he's on his way to town to get birdseed, and
he bumps into a lady.
He literally bumps into a woman.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what I want to say about this. This character, this woman, she has a name. Her name is listed in the credits.
Yeah.
However, and I had to rewind the movie to watch her introductory scenes to make sure that this was true. Her name is not said out loud in this movie until 49 minutes into it.
That's correct.
And she is a character, and she goes on the adventure with them, and there's like secrets are revealed about this about this character and whatnot. But like for a good portion of the movie, she is kind of primarily the female lead. But they do not say her name out loud until almost an hour into the movie. So you know what? We're not going to do this movie's heavy lifting for us. So until that comes up, until it is relevant,
we're going to call her the Woman.
This character is named Woman. Okay. So Hulk bumps into Woman, steps on her foot.
Up ends her when he wants to check out her foot.
That is the most insane fucking thing. It's crazy. He steps on her foot. She goes, "Ow, that hurt. You're on my foot, please."
Oh,
and
sorry.
So he's all like, "Are you okay?" He's all like, "Oh yeah, 250-pound guys always stand on my foot." And then Hogan goes, "Here, let me look at it for you." Bends over, picks her up by the foot, and then is surprised when she falls over in pain.
Yeah.
It's the most insane thing anyone has ever done, and it's just like, are you human? Yeah. Are you a human being? I get that you're kind of like awkward, and you're trying to lay on like, oh, I'm like an awkward big guy. I don't know my own strength or anything like that. Yeah, but it's just like,
because he's country mouse and she's city mouse. That's the sort of thing, right?
Sure, that's exactly what I thought. That was the thing. But yes, this woman who was German.
She's a German woman on vacation. She was told. Well, she tells Hogan that she heard that this was a good place to relax, and then like, oh, and I never expected Hulk Hogan to. to put me in a couple of holes.
To literally sweep me off my feet. Yeah. Yes. Everyone wants to take a vacation on island.
But anyway, she tackles Hulk Hogan to save him from a motorcycle that's barreling down on him. So they're fast friends, and he offers to
which was an attempt on his life.
Yes.
He has now had 2 attempts on his life, seemingly from Alonzo, who knows that he has the turtle map, even though that literally just happened.
Yeah. There are a couple attempts on his life. Hogan says to her, like, well, like, maybe sometime I'll give you a tour of the island.
Yeah. Taking a little shine to her.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And then Billy, I don't know.
Billy is out.
Denny comes by.
Denny's out on the Sea-Doo.
Which Hogan gives him, even though it is not his to give.
Yeah. So he's out. He's out through the waves, and then Alonzo's goons come by and trap Billy in a fishing net.
Not even
not a fishing net, a fish net.
Yeah, like the type of net you would scoop your goldfish out of. Yeah. They just get him they just dunk him on the head, and he's immediately kidnapped.
And at this point, I'm just like, okay, I don't know why this never included into me, right? But this is straight up intended to be a kids movie because no human being would ever be caught in like a net, like a dog catcher's net, unless it were meant to be a kids movie. You know who
would though? Fucking kid. Fucking kid. Now, I guess they might have had to do some rewriting because, like, that's the one suspension of disbelief thing. If he was like a 12-year-old kid, he couldn't be riding a skidoo by himself or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's like a thing. Maybe he steals a skidoo in like the original draft or anything like that. I don't know. Yeah. But he should be a child because Hulk Hogan's entire purpose in this movie, it's not to find McKinsey's treasure. He wants to get Billy back.
Yeah.
That's his only purpose in the movie is to rescue his friend. Yeah. Which again, when it's a 30-year-old man, getting a little gay. I'm just gonna say it. I'm allowed to say that it gets a little gay.
You know what this movie should have done was
got a little gay.
Got a little gay. No, what it should have done was have Robert Vaughn be the guy who gets kidnapped by Alonzo, because he's his old former partner.
It's a little Rambo-ish. Yeah.
Who the fuck cares at this point, you know? He gets because that's what you do in these sorts of stupid movies. Yeah. And it makes a little bit more sense to give Hogan some personal stakes to go after and rescue his best friend. And now you have an opportunity for a wisecracking loser sidekick like Billy to tag along on the adventure and complain about being in the jungle instead of, Robert Vaughn complaining about his back problems, whining about everything.
Are you talking about my favorite part of the movie? I love Robert Vaughn in this movie. I thought he was so fun. Come on.
No, it makes way more sense for him to go after his old partner, his old mentor.
No, it makes way more sense for him to go after a child.
But it's not a child.
There's a child in peril.
It's a 30-year-old dude that he goes after.
Right.
Who he doesn't seem to get along with all that well.
No,
anyways,
not at all. Well, he doesn't get along with anybody. Hulk Hogan plays this role as if he couldn't wait to be literally anywhere else but in this movie that he's being paid seemingly one assumes a lot of money to be in. But yes, there's just a lot of scenes of Robert Vaughn trying to convince him to go on this adventure or whatever because he has the map, and Robert Vaughn again.
Well, he took a picture of them. Did we mention that he took a picture?
He took a picture of the turtle.
Yes.
So now he has a map.
Out of the picture. Forget about the turtle.
The poor fucking turtle went back into the water and is living their best life somewhere else, and Robert Vaughn is trying to do this. There's a scene where
like it's 1876.
There's the other scene in this movie that reminded me of The Room where Hogan goes to buy birdseed for Deep Six. And there's a cat in there, and he goes in and he talks to the counter lady. He's all like, "Hey, you got any birdseed? Hi, kitty.
You're my favorite customer.
You're my favorite customer, Hulk Hogan." And then he goes over to buy some birdseed, and Robert Vaughn is right behind him. And
Hulk Hogan once again beats him up.
Apropos of nothing, beats him over the head with a bag of birdseed, and I'm just like, Hogan, other people can be in the store. He's all like, "Why were you sneaking up on me, Robert Vaughn?" It's all like, "You didn't know that was Robert Vaughn. Could have been any. Could have just been a guy.
Yeah.
Could have just been buying a bird cage. You don't know." But he was right anyway, and he has to pay for the bird seed because the bird seed spilled everywhere, but it doesn't matter anyway because he goes home and his house blows up.
His home blows up in a massive explosion, which it was one of those. You remember when we were watching Fantasy Mission Force and we remarked that explosion of that big wooden temple would have killed some stunt people? That was a pretty big explosion too. Too big for Robert Vaughn to have been near.
Robert Vaughn was not on set that day, but they got his. But yeah, there's definitely a scene where Hogan goes because Vaughn says, "Do you smell something?" And then what happens is Hogan goes back and his house has been ransacked and turned over because they were looking for the map. Alonso's people were looking for the map. They didn't find the most obvious hiding spot in the world under his rug, where he has like a safe, and so he still has the map. So everything is broken, and then he goes outside with Robert Vaughn. They have a conversation for seemingly a long time. I think they have like a sandwich too or something. They just sit there because Robert Vaughn's always eating because he has low blood sugar.
Yeah.
And then after like a little bit, Robert Vaughn says, "Do you smell something?" Hulk Hogan goes back inside and the gas line has been cut. And I guess he only just noticed now.
Yeah.
Even though that's not not remotely how that works. But there's definitely a scene where he puts the bird down, walks inside the house, sees that the gas line has been cut, runs back outside and grabs the fakest looking fucking bird I've ever seen in my life. It's really funny because he has to do it really fast because he grabs the bird with one hand, grabs Robert Vaughn with the other hand, and then there's stunt people dive off and the house explodes. But it's pretty fun. It's just long enough for you to know that that's a Beanie Baby. So now he has no choice but to
save the day
because he's got to buy a new house. He's got to get that treasure.
To go with this stupid plan of hunting down a treasure in order to catch like an arms dealer or whatever.
And I think Robert Vaughn also at one point offhandedly mentions, "Oh, by the way, they've kidnapped Billy." Just so you know.
Because Robert Vaughn happens to know everything.
He knows everything. And it doesn't matter if you've left an hour before him, he'll still get there before you.
Yeah.
Because he's a wizard.
Things will be revealed to this guy and he'll be like, "Yeah, I knew. I didn't tell you." And it's like, okay, either you're fucking bullshitting me or you're a fucking asshole for not telling me, for keeping me in the dark on this.
Multiple things are revealed about multiple characters in this, but by the end of the movie, Robert Vaughn is still the biggest enigma.
Yeah.
It's just all like, nothing about this character makes any sense.
Hogan puts up his parrot, and then they rent a boat, and forgot to tell you, that woman will be joining us.
Woman is coming along with us
on this dangerous expedition
because, of course, she's on vacation, and Hogan offered to show her around the island. So naturally, she's coming on this dangerous mission to go find treasure. And Hogan asks absolutely no questions, not even, "What is your name?" And Robert Vaughn, who knows more than he's letting on, also agrees to let this woman come along because he's read the script.
That's right.
He's read the script of the plot.
That's why he knows. He's the only guy in this whole movie who memorized the whole, like, cover to cover, the entire script. Everyone else just covered their own lines.
Also, I swear to God, in one scene, Robert Vaughn refers to Billy as Jimmy. He might have just been mumbling it, but I definitely rewound it, and there's definitely one scene he's like, we gotta get Jimmy back.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Couldn't be bothered, left it in the movie.
So they go to this presumably deserted island full of jungle.
McCinsey's
They
Island.
go to McCinsey's Island,
Yes.
and we walk from here, and they go maybe, I don't know, generous...
Five steps.
Five steps before they are surrounded by goons with guns.
By Alonzo's goons, and yes, and then...
they take him to Alonzo's camp, and this mysterious person who is shrouded in mosquito nets, it turns out to be Grace Jones.
I love any time where they're showing someone in like shadow, and they're like saving the reveal of who this could be the entire time, and like they're in the shadow and everything. I love when that happens, when the person in the shadow is hands down one of the most recognizable people on the planet. Truly, no one looks like Grace Jones.
Yeah.
So when you see Grace Jones's silhouette, there's no mistaking her for literally anyone. No one is as angular as Grace Jones is.
She's made out of rectangles and squares. She's a Minecraft character.
And like initially, I was really nervous about Grace Jones in this movie because her character's name is Alonzo, and before like the reveal here, my worry is that, oh no, are they making Grace Jones play a man? Very rude, very rude, very rude thing to do. But no, the gambit of this is that Alonzo is like a shadowy kingpin type character who is a woman, but
no one would suspect to be a
no
woman.
one would suspect a woman. So yes, so she's taken a man's name,
a moniker. For
yes.
That, No one would suspect it except for Robert Vaughn, who knew
the entire time, because of course he did, because he read the script.
Yeah.
Yes, so Grace Jones is our villain. Now, let's talk about Grace Jones. We've watched one Grace Jones movie on this podcast. The thing about Grace Jones, the thing that I have inferred about Grace Jones over my years of watching, I haven't seen her in every movie she's made, but like the thing that I've inferred about Grace Jones is that she is like cool personified. She is a cool fucking lady. She is like sensual, she's sexual, she just gives off the air of someone that like does not have time for your bullshit and is just gonna be 100% her, and she's just one of the coolest people in pop culture history, and it's almost
to this movie.
And it's almost like she made the decision, how can I throw away all of that goodwill in one performance? She is full on goofballs McGillicuddy in this movie. I was not prepared for how wacky Grace Jones is playing this role.
Yeah.
She is like cartoons are more subtle than the performance that Grace Jones gives in this.
Yeah.
She is wackadoo.
I mean, I get it. It's one of these dumb movies for kids.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, you're going to see the villain of the piece, like, really hamming it up, like, losing their mind, screaming their head off at their henchmen, maybe doing some things that are a little silly for a criminal mastermind to be doing.
Like leading your henchmen in like jazzercise, like she does like one time, and then like yelling at them when they're not pirouetting correctly. Yeah.
I was astounded by just how bad she was in this fucking movie.
It's a fiasco of a performance.
Yeah.
Guards! Hurry up! They're getting away! Go after them now! Hurry! I'm gonna take you for this stomach train!
I mean, I didn't entirely hate it. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was.
You're not gonna defend it?
I'm not gonna defend it, but I'm also at the same time I'm all like, she's having fun. You know what? She's allowed to have fun.
Of course,
Jameson.
she's allowed to have fun. I can't imagine for the life of me she has ever gone back to revisit this movie.
Oh no, she forgot about this the second they yelled cut.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on Grace Jones, and I've already forgotten all of you.
booked it.
I've already forgotten all of you. No, I gotta go.
I've already forgotten all of you. Wow. No rap party invite for her.
That's what she said. To be fair, that's what Grace Jones says at the end of most interactions she has with people.
Yeah.
It was lovely to talk to you. Thank you for dinner. I've already forgotten you.
So she wants to interrogate Hogan and Robert Vaughn and the woman over the whereabouts of the treasure. She gets her henchman Samson to hit him with the slingshot pellets
Yeah,
He
exactly.
throws rocks at him,
It's slingshot torture,
Yeah.
which I've truly never seen before in anything.
No, outside of Legend of Zelda,
Yeah.
like I've never really seen slingshots be used like this.
As a torture, I mean, like effective.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's like hitting you with like a rock traveling at like incredible speed over and over, it doesn't not hurt.
Yeah. You know what's fucking funny though?
But then again, we also sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just also wanted to say we also saw like one character take like 3 coconuts to the head and still get up. So like pain is on a bit of a swivel in this movie.
It really is.
What's the funny thing?
It's an observation.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a funny thing.
Well, you've really built it up.
So, like Samson, the guy who's doing the slingshot torture, he hits Robert Vaughn and Hogan a couple of times in the head with these rocks. But then when they break free of their binds, and then one of them just happens to chuck a rock at one of those same slingshot rods at Samson's head, fucking knocks him out cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you were saying, it's
not
whatever is convenient to the script.
And it's not that scene, but we're gonna this is jumping ahead a little bit, but it's not that scene, but like something happens to Samson at one point in time that like just straight up gives him brain damage. Because after a certain point, something happens to him, and then for multiple scenes after the fact, they're like questioning him. Is all like, "Where's the treasure, Samson?" He's like, I don't know. And it's again, it's a cartoon. It's a big dumb cartoon.
Yeah.
Also, this is what I just like constantly found hilarious throughout this entire interrogation scene. Alonzo, they've got them all tied up and everything, and Hogan is like singular-minded about like one thing: where's Billy? I've only come here for Billy. Meanwhile, directly next to him is this wooden crate,
constant knocking
that is shaken back and forth. It's like fucking Donkey Kong Country with Diddy in the barrel.
Yeah.
It's this entire time. There's like a 5-minute dialogue scene, and throughout all of it. Because
there's noise of someone trying to break out of a crate.
And it's just bad Foley work is what it is. It's just bad sound effects work. Whoever put it in just made those sound effects too fucking loud.
It's the same guy that did all the fucking parrot voiceover.
Exactly. It literally is. But it's only until they bring Robert Vaughn into the tent that he goes like, "Can we let Billy out of that crate? It's really getting annoying."
Yeah.
And Hogan's just like, "Wait, Billy's in the crate?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking? It's right next to you."
Oh, that's Robert Vaughn. He's old. He can read the situation so well.
I can't see my best friend if there's crate in the way.
Yeah. So our heroes escape back to their boat. They get out of the camp. Billy falls out of the boat.
It's really easy to get one over on Grace Jones. Again, Grace Jones shows up in a movie and it's all like, this person's intimidating. We want to do like, and it's all like, oh no, he like grabbed her really easily and then they escaped and it was like no problem. She has like an army. She has like an army of goons. It's the most useless army of goons I've ever seen. They never do anything. They never fire any of their guns.
Like one of the goons, I think it might be Samson actually, he gets into the jet ski and he drives it, and I guess under his own weight,
right,
the jet ski sinks.
I was confused by that because I think
I didn't see them do any kind of sabotage work.
I was looking down, and when I looked up, my thought was like, did they sabotage that? I think the joke is that Samson is so big, he makes the jet ski sink, but that doesn't necessarily work when the star of your movie is Hulk fucking Hogan.
Yeah.
Who is roughly the same size as that guy, and has been seen riding jet skis with no problem.
All right. So with Billy left behind to be kidnapped again,
and again, it takes like a good 5 minutes for Hogan to realize Billy's not on the boat anymore.
I was gonna say we have the world's most boring boat chase.
It does take
where like no crashes, no gunfire, nothing. Just
Grace Jones just screaming, "Get them, you fools! Curses!"
Going at a reasonable speed.
It is. I'm just watching this entire time, just going like, this is like a speedboat chase. I should be excited by this, but I'm just fundamentally not.
Yeah. This is like the center of the movie action sequence.
Right.
I wrote down the timestamp between when they took out 41:43 from when the boat starts and Billy falls overboard to 45:30. So generally like 5 minutes before Hogan looks around and realizes that Billy's not with them. To which Robert Vaughn replies,
Walter, where's Billy? Maybe he's playing hide and go seek. Kids like to do that.
I'm serious, he's not in the boat.
You're absolutely right, he's not here.
Yeah, and then Grace Jones falls off the boat at one point, and it's...
You knuckleheads!
I'm gonna get you, Captain Planet! Or something like that.
Yeah, it's Boss Hog, a Captain Planet
absolutely. And then she gets back to the shore, and her goons are all there, and like, they got away with the map, but we still have Billy, and only then does Grace Jones realize that Billy has a big ruby ring on his finger, and she's like, children shouldn't have jewelry, and it's all like, you had this guy for like 24 hours, you never noticed he had the world's biggest ring on?
He was in the crate.
He was in the crate. He's been in the crate for days.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, so we're at the 49-minute mark, which is when we finally find out that woman is named Sabrina. Only now does Hogan think to say her name out loud. It would have been so easy, and like, you know, it's like, if only there was a scene where these characters met and could have introduced themselves to one another.
Yeah.
Too bad that didn't happen.
Screenwriter realized, oh shit, fuck, I didn't write her. Oh, that was like, what, 20 pages ago? Fuck.
That was a really long time ago.
All right, so...
It's very awkward.
So, Joe, Walter, and Sabrina.
And Sabrina, who now officially has a name.
Yeah,
she's now she's now a human being.
They're wandering through the jungle, and they come across the parts of the map that Hogan remembers where they're like, oh, look at this tree, this landmark. That must mean if I, you know, climb up this tree, I'll find a clue.
Find something in there.
Yeah.
Now, Hogan has had a running gag throughout all of this, a bit of a catchphrase.
I'm retired.
Well, no, what he does is, it's a very bad one, but he does it like 3 or 4 times up until this point, where someone will say something in a regular speaking voice, and then he will respond with, I heard that. And he does it a lot. And but like he always responds to it when someone, you know, is like speaking directly to him.
Yeah.
Or making like or one time he says, I saw that, after like Robert Vaughn like rolls his eyes again directly at him. He always says like, I heard that, in a moment where it wouldn't make sense. Of course you heard that. It's because I said it out loud.
Yeah.
At this moment, they're all like, well, I guess we gotta go climb this tree or whatever, and Robert Vaughn's like, oh, I can't do it, my back's really bad, and Hulk Hogan's like, oh, I guess I'll go climb the tree, and then Robert Vaughn goes, sucker, and it's all like, there, that's the only time you should have said that, and you didn't do it, you failed in your only catchphrase, that's the only time it would have made sense for you to say that.
I didn't clock that, actually.
So he goes into the tree and he finds a shrunken
head.
I really like this amount of dialogue, because again, Robert Vaughn knows everything before it's about to happen.
This is disgusting.
What?
They must have found a shrunken head.
It's a shrunken head.
On IMDb, there are no quotes attributed to this movie.
But that's about to change.
I'm pretty certain I'm going to include, he probably found a shrunken head. I found a shrunken head! Maybe a couple of other lines that I wrote down too, because there's some good shit in here.
Oh yeah, me too. And then like a few seconds later, Sabrina storms off into the jungle on her own, and she falls through a cavern.
No, Robert Vaughn falls through
Vaughn falls through the cavern.
Yeah, he falls through the cavern.
Sabrina goes in after him.
There's like a thing where like Robert Vaughn disappears from view for like 30 seconds, and both Sabrina and Hogan are like slightly concerned. Robert Vaughn, you okay? And then he just stands up, implying that it's not a deep hole at all. It's quite shallow. Then they crawl down and they find McCinsey's secret cave. And then, totally not suspicious at all, Sabrina immediately disappears. And you might think that that's odd, considering that they've been traveling together for over a day now. But both of them are kind of all like, oh, she's gone. She'll probably show up later. Let's go to bed. Let's go to bed right here in this secret cave.
Convenient cots just waiting out for us.
Good night.
Robert Vaughn really becomes a little treasure obsessed at this point. I'm like, are you still like a man of the law who's hunting after Alonzo? Is this not your plan to like, you know, wait here to capture the villain? He's already like checking out jewels and trinkets and everything.
He keeps saying over and over again, if we find the treasure, they'll bring Billy to us, and then we'll be able to do like he says it like 3 or 4 times. Well, he explains that particular plan multiple times throughout this movie.
That's the one kind of prediction he makes that doesn't come to fruition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except that was his gambit the entire time. A lot of gambits in this movie, but that was his gambit the entire time.
A lot of napping on.
A lot of napping. He has to eat something every like 5 minutes or so.
So overnight, it's revealed to us that Sabrina works for Alonzo. She calls Grace Jones up over the phone.
Grace Jones totally answers the phone like a normal human being would. Doesn't give it the most business anyone has ever done. She like the phone rings. She like hops from hand to hand. She's like, whoa, what is this? Hello? It's so weird.
Her ringing phone startled her awake with such a force she leapt out of her chair.
Someone needed to. But to be fair, if I'm the director of this movie, I would find it nigh impossible to tell Grace Jones to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm just too intimidated. I'd be just too intimidated.
Can you calm it down a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, no, she's already made the decision to go this big.
this
This is not your performance
This
anymore.
is as subtle
this
as
is Grace Jones'
yes,
performance.
this is Grace Jones's movie.
Yeah. So the next morning, Hogan and Robert Vaughn wake up, realize that Sabrina is like totally gone. They got a crisis on their hand, but Robert Vaughn wants to sleep in.
Oh, we forgot to mention they found a literal box of jewels.
Oh yeah.
They found for all intents and purposes, they have found McKinsey's treasure.
Well, that's what we mean. They found the treasure.
They found the
room.
treasure.
Yeah.
And alarm bells should be going off now because it's a pretty lame treasure.
It is.
It's
as far as like pirate treasure, adventure,
It's like
stories
it's
go.
like the equivalent of if you like robbed like a wealthy person's house. This is what their wife would keep in her underwear drawer. It's like a handful of like necklaces and pearls.
Maybe a few doubloons in like a coin box.
Some
or
loose
something.
doubloons, yeah, exactly. But it's a very paltry pirate's treasure.
Exactly. We need to see like massive treasure chests. We need to see piles of coins.
Right.
We need to see like some golden goblets or something like that.
Now
it was not in the budget.
No, but now it is somewhat revealed that the treasure itself, speaking about gambits, is the biggest gambit of all. It's McKinsey's gambit. That should have been the title of the movie. When I was trying to find this movie, because I only half remembered it when you suggested it, I was convinced that it was McKinley's Island, and we were going to bring like American politics into it.
Oh yeah.
No, but the thing is that the treasure is fake. Robert Vaughn knows it, of course, because he knows everything. And he lets Sabrina steal the treasure in the night to take it back to Alonzo, because he knows.
It's like no harm, no foul.
And he also knows that Sabrina is going to betray Alonzo and try to fence the jewels for herself.
Exactly.
And spoilers, but that's exactly what happens. But he also knows the real treasure was within the shrunken head, which Hulk Hogan has also figured out that it's not a real shrunken head, it's like a fake shrunken head. I don't know how
it's like a bag or something.
I don't know how McKinley makes a fake shrunken head in like the 1876 before like polyethylene was like invented or whatever. But like
he had a leather guy. He had a leather guy.
He had a guy.
Yeah,
he had a good head guy on his island.
Don't you worry about it. I got a guy.
But the real treasure is one singular diamond. One big ass diamond.
That's right, yeah.
That's the treasure.
The Bombay jewel.
The Star of Bombay.
The Star of Bombay.
Which I actually looked up because that sounded real, because there's like a big story that goes along with it that McKinley stole the Star of Bombay from the King of England. No name is given, just the King of England, whoever the king was in 1897 or whatever the fuck it was. But I looked it up. The Star of Bombay is in fact a priceless jewel. It is a sapphire, though, not a diamond, which is why Star of Bombay gin comes in a blue bottle. Yes,
okay.
exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But this movie either doesn't know that or doesn't care, or a combination of the both.
Yeah.
But this is what the treasure
couldn't find
is.
a cheap ass blue, fake diamond somewhere.
No, they just the props
they
out of
they couldn't go to a party store or anything. Like
no, they had just enough money in the budget for a glassmaker to make a big fake looking diamond.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's what the treasure is, and Hulk Hogan has it.
Yeah.
And Alonso wants it, and Robert Vaughn knows how the movie's gonna end.
Yeah, speaking of those two, Hulk Hogan and Robert Vaughn, they want to make their way to Alonzo's camp. I guess now is the time to rescue Billy, that they have the treasure for themselves. So, yeah, they just, Hogan says, the camp I recall after that big boat chase, it has to be like, 20 miles that way, and Robert Vaughn just goes in the other direction, and they're instantly there.
He like pulls like a bush back, and like the camp has been there the entire time.
Like, good fucking lord.
But now we've entered like the thumb twiddling portion of the movie, because the movie could ostensibly be over. Right now.
You are now in prime position for like a surprise attack or for like a really good infiltration moment.
But for some reason, Robert Vaughn says, no, we have to wait till the morning.
Yeah.
We have to wait till the morning to catch them off guard.
You just woke up.
Yeah. Again, I feel like the day has like barely started because they're moving through the thing. But look, I'm jumping the gun a little bit like this, but I didn't find this movie boring. I didn't find this movie entertaining, but I didn't find this movie boring, largely because something noteworthy seemed to happen every 2 minutes.
That's very true.
Whether it was a bizarre performance choice, or just like
a bizarre story,
or a scene that went absolutely nowhere. Did we need to include like a minute of Grace Jones blowing smoke rings with a cigar. We absolutely did not. It's cool that she knew how to do that.
Sure.
But, like, it didn't need to be in the movie. Did we need to have a scene where Robert Vaughn forces Hulk Hogan to eat a banana with him and then is mildly annoyed when a monkey steals his second banana? No, we didn't need that. Yeah. But I'm glad it's in there. I'm glad they included it. But they definitely didn't need to wait till morning to do the attack when they were right there.
This movie keeps finding new ways to surprise you at how weird and stupid it is.
And just how unnecessary what I'm seeing.
Yeah, so like they wake up, they find the camp, and on the outskirts of the camp, they decide we're gonna sleep here for the night. They wake up the next morning, and their plan is wait till nightfall. So they kill another fucking day.
Yeah, just like and they just
again on the outskirts
in the bushes
of
of this enemy camp where people are constantly doing surveillance and
dance aerobics or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at some point in time, Hogan must have found the time to sneak around the camp because he plants explosives. That looks suspiciously like egg timers, but he plants explosives on all of the
explosives.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I guess their plan is like when the explosives all go off, that's when we'll go and we'll get Billy, who's locked in a cage. But it's really funny because they say it's all like, okay, we'll wait until morning when they're off guard, and then they're like going to bed in the bush or whatever. And Robert Vaughn says, "What time did you set the alarm for?" And he goes, 6:30 a.m. Which, guys, that's not that early. I sometimes wake up at 6:30 a.m. and I'm like a piece of shit. But like I don't know. I couldn't think of another word for lazy. But like. No, if you're gonna do,
you're no Robert Vaughn in this movie.
Look, if you're gonna attack someone in the morning, do it at like 3 in the morning. That's the morning. That's the time when you have to attack.
We're gonna do it when they're unsuspecting. Oh, you mean like in the daytime when they're all awake?
And then they wake up at literally at 6:29. Hogan's like, oh, I almost missed the explosion or whatever, and we see the camp. People are up.
Yeah.
People have been up for hours. Your sneak attack is full of holes. There's no way that this should work as well as it does.
You did not need to take 2 whole days to decide to set up the explosives.
Speaking of the animals that are in this movie, Alonso has a pet, what is that, a panther?
That's a panther, yeah.
That's a panther.
She takes it for morning walks and shit.
That she, we see her go to bed with the panther in the bed. Now, and I just want to say, when she wakes up the next morning, she wakes up to the sound of multiple explosions going around her. And I would say that reason in particular is why you don't sleep with a panther. As anyone who has ever had a cat on their lap while a truck backfired outside, cats tend to overreact.
Be pretty skittish.
They tend to overreact to loud noises. Yeah. So, yes, they did. That panther went elsewhere because they showed the bed and the panther's not in anymore. But I just
like it's the whole purpose of that big cat is so that it can be chained up in a pen for the day. She takes it for a couple of walks, and then she goes to bed with it.
I know that panther is a bit of a red herring. The panther doesn't come into. I mean, they had enough budget to have a panther in the movie, but not nearly enough budget to have the panther do anything. Which again, the panthers shouldn't be in terrible Hulk Hogan movies. Panthers should be panthers, living their panther lives. But
speaking of animals, when nightfall happens, there is an owl. Now I don't know a hell of a lot about ornithology, if that is the science of birds. Are there owls in the tropics?
I don't know.
I don't think there are many birds of prey.
Here's my question. Do you think there's fucking raccoons in the tropics? Because we're speaking about animals. Talk about like an animal runner that ultimately goes nowhere. Robert Vaughn keeps seeing like a raccoon following them, and he keeps going like, "There's a fucking raccoon over there."
Yeah, he keeps giving it.
He says that.
He keeps giving it the nod.
He says that. He says, "There's a fucking raccoon over there," and Hulk.
He doesn't say the F.
No, he doesn't.
It's a kids' movie.
Is it? Would you let your children watch this?
No.
But Hulk Hogan.
I would respect my children's
Hulk
intelligence
Hogan
too much.
literally says, "There's no raccoons." Walter.
Yeah,
there's no raccoons,
the heat's
Walter.
Getting to you,
yeah, and I'm all like, is this like an imaginary raccoon or whatever? But no, there's just, for some reason, there's just a raccoon along for the ride for a lot of this. And yeah, owls and raccoons are not necessarily animals I would think live on tropical island destinations, but maybe we're wrong. Who knows?
Well, that's McCinsey's Island. It's like Madagascar.
He brought over
certain species that are unique.
McCinsey brought over 2 of every animal on his way over.
That's right.
Not to repopulate.
He gave one turtle away to the sea. And carving a date.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Hogan calls up Alonzo because apparently they have each other's phone number, despite being mortal enemies for years.
That's a great point. I never even clocked that.
It's a lot of wakey, and so there's a big panic that goes around. He beats up a couple of guards. Robert Vaughn says boo to one of the kids, and he goes running. Yeah, Kaz, I think this is a kid's movie.
Probably, yeah. Also, that was Grace Jones's Panther. She brought it from home.
Oh, was
that
it?
was her own Panther.
Okay, yeah.
No, but you could believe that.
Sure.
I said that, and you believed it for like a second.
I did, yeah. I would 100% believe that Grace Jones owns a Panther.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't. Don't own. Again, let Panthers be Panthers.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
what?
She was a model. So
oh yeah, no,
they have crazy tastes.
Oh, I would imagine I would love to see what Grace Jones's house looks like.
Yeah,
I have to imagine it's like as rectangular as she is. She gets like her architect and her hairdresser, and it's all like, all right,
figure it
both
out.
of you work on this. Me as a house.
So they're about to make their escape altogether when
Grace Jones sneaks out the bathroom and she's wearing a conspicuous trench coat.
Yeah.
Which, again, Grace, I hate to tell you, you look like Grace Jones. I think people might notice.
Yeah. And so there's there's a big fight between Hulk Hogan and Big Show.
Big Show
shows up in this.
I knew by looking at the cast list that he was in the movie, and throughout the entire movie, I'm all like,
where is he?
Okay, he's probably one of Grace Jones's goons. I couldn't pick him out of a line or anything like that.
He's not seen in any other scene, and he's a guy you notice because it's Big Show.
It's Big Show, and he's weirdly high build in this movie. He's like 5th build in this movie. Yes, but Big Show, here credited as Paul White the Giant.
That's right. That was his original name.
Did anyone tell him there was another famous wrestler who also went by the Giant?
The Giant,
yeah. Which is why I think he changed the name.
Anyway. Yeah, Hogan.
He plays.
There's a fight between wrestlers.
What's his name? Like Little Snowflake?
Little Snowflake.
Yeah, he has like
one of those ironic names.
One of those ironic names. But yes, Big Show shows up for like the last 5 minutes of this movie.
Beats up Hulk Hogan.
Throws him into a lot of empty crates.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the tent where they store the empty crates. Clearly. And then he doesn't. I think Robert Vaughn ends up knocking him out. Someone or either Denny or Robert Vaughn ends up knocking him out.
And they do so by like cutting a rope and dropping a net on Big Show, which is accompanied by
a slide whistle sound effect.
Slide whistle, yeah.
There's a few bonks in here as well too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're back into goofball mode here.
Oh no, he's defeated by a rock to the head, much like Samson.
Who throws it? Is it Denny or is it Robert Vaughn?
I don't remember.
That's
Robert Vaughn.
True. Someone.
Because he's a former special op, or he's a.
That's right.
He's a current special ops.
He knows
guy.
exactly where
Hogan's
to hit.
Retired
he knows where to hit you on the head with a rock that will immediately.
Because he knows everything.
Yeah, he does. He knows it all. And then Alonso gets away, but then doesn't. It's like a whole thing where like there's like a scene where like Robert Vaughn confronts Grace Jones in the bush.
Did he take him hostage?
There's this embarrassing fucking moment where he grabs onto Grace Jones's wrist. He's all like, "I've got you." No, you don't. Nah, I got you now. No, you don't. I won't let go of you. No, it's all like, folks, can we wrap things up? I know this is a short movie. Can we get away with this? And then Grace Jones's other unnamed female henchman, who's not Sabrina, but she just has one other female henchman, shows up at this moment, gets the drop on Robert Vaughn. Alonso's like, "Haha, catch you next time." And I'm all like, is that how Grace Jones goes out of this movie? Not quite. No. It is yet another gambit.
Yeah. How did Robert Vaughn get away from that other henchman?
Couldn't tell you.
Sure.
Could not tell you.
If it is even filmed.
He lays on the charm. He lays on the rock. He sees her and he goes, "Hi, hi."
So back on the mainland, though, there's a brief cut where it shows Sabrina at like a jewelry appraiser trying to pawn off the jewels.
Yeah.
And the guy tells her it's all fake.
It's all garbage.
And she gets mad at him, and
she starts saying "Scheiße" because she's German.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on that character.
That seems like the sort of thing that should have been like an epilogue or a post-credits.
Yeah,
scenes.
but I think
they kind of just didn't know how to do that.
I think they realized once the credits hit, everyone was all like, "I'm done with that. Turning this off." Yeah, exactly.
So you had to make sure you get some closure on that. But,
and then
fuck, it comes out of nowhere.
And then the actual last scene of this movie is everyone's back on whatever island Hulk Hogan lives on. I guess he's homeless because his house blew up.
Yeah, but he's such a beloved figure in the community. I'm sure people will help him. It was shown earlier when there's all those beachgoers who have their trucks stopped in the stand.
Right.
And, like, they're trying to push it out, and Hogan comes by and, like, just casually lifts up the back bunker and the truck's on its way. And I'm like, fuck, if I was as ripped as Hulk Hogan, I'd be performing feats of strength like that all the time, too.
It's not that he helped them push the truck. It's that he shooed them all away and said, here, I will push your truck, but only I will push your truck. No one else is allowed to.
No one else can do
No one else can, even though it probably would have gone a lot faster if 5 people were pushing it, and one of them was Hulk Hogan. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, like, they're back on the regular, the home island, the outset island.
Not McCinsey's Island.
Not McCinsey's Island. And they're about to go their separate ways, and say, "Well, a job well done. Glad you saved Billy."
Going to turn this priceless gem into the proper authorities.
But who should drop in? But Grace Jones, who is skiing on the water, being pulled behind a plane.
Yes, the easiest way to assassinate anyone.
And once again, she's hollering and yelling, and she's brandishing a gun as, like, the plane pulls her towards the shore.
Seemingly does not know how to use that gun.
Yeah.
Because it seems like her entire idea was all like, I'll go by on these jet skis and I'll shoot Hulk Hogan, and he won't even know it. And then it all immediately goes out the fucking window.
And she keeps going shit like, I'm gonna kill you, you're dead to me, I'm
and meanwhile, she's just waving her arms in the air and just, shoot him!
Yeah.
That's why you have it!
Well, it'd be a shitty way to shoot, too, because you can't aim for that shit.
she's also very far away.
Yes.
It's a terrible plan. She's a horrible villain.
Yeah.
It's so weird that Hulk Hogan never caught her before now.
Yeah.
Because she seemingly has lost her mind.
Because he was too busy looking for men. If he knew he could narrow the search down to women, then... Yeah.
Indeed. But yeah, she fails spectacularly.
She lets go of the rope, and she just skis up onto the shore.
Robert Vaughn finally gets her in cuffs.
Yeah, she's in fucking skis, which are almost impossible to get off super easily.
Right.
So... Yeah, very easy capture on their part.
Quite easy. And then it's all like, everything's fine. Oh, what's this random box? Now, okay, hold on.
Where did this box come from?
I want to preface this by saying, I wish we had, like, a guest or maybe someone who hadn't seen the movie, because I just want to, so, like, I'll have to refer to you at home, to the listener at home. The movie ends with them finding, like a box on the island.
On the beach.
Just right now... I want you to picture what might be inside this box. I want you to think long and hard, like, what's the thing that they find inside this box that leads to, the setup for the next amazing adventure that these characters are going on? What could be inside this box that will lead to the next movie in the McCinsey's Island?
And if you think pirate treasure, because this whole movie has been about finding pirate treasure and a hunt for pirate treasure, you're wrong.
Yes. If any other answer other than two living tiger cubs. Where did they come from? Completely unexplained. Does one of them have a treasure map tied to its collar? Absolutely. Are we going to ask any further question? Nope, movie's over.
Yep. Gotta save it for the sequel.
Why the fuck are there 2 baby tigers in a box, Jameson?
I have no idea.
How did they get there? Who put them there?
No one had a box. When the scene began, nobody had a box.
No one did.
Grace Jones was not carrying a big box under her arm when she was water skiing into the sea.
How long were these poor tiger cubs in this hot box in the fucking sweltering sun? Yeah. And you just open the box and then you just see like the most dehydrated tiger. No, they're fine. They're fine. They're being cute and whatever, but it's all like, what the fuck? Why are there all the... this movie clearly had a budget of like $55, but like they still they were able to get a lot of big cats inexplicably.
Probably from the Tiger. Yeah,
this movie.
Obvious Tiger King joke.
Oh yeah, there's some Tiger King shit in here or whatever. I mean, they got someone that owns a panther or whatever. I'm joking, of course. This movie obviously must have cost a lot of money because lots of things explode.
Well, 2 things explode.
2 things explode. Yes,
a house and a car.
And a car. Well, it costs a lot of money. To blow
it costs a lot of money to rent jet skis for a day.
And then never give them back.
Boat fuel costs money.
Yeah. All right, is there anything we haven't talked about? God, I wrote so many notes.
Yeah. At one point when they realize Billy has been knocked overboard, Hogan says that he wants to go back. Robert Vaughn says, no, we have to get out of here, get to our mission of finding the treasure. Hogan says, I'm bigger than you.
I think you're making a big mistake. Not do this.
Walter, I'm bigger than you.
Fine. That's your argument. Won't be the first time.
And so that argument over.
Argument over.
Argument
yeah.
fucking over when Hogan says that to you.
I mean, it's just really annoying how often Hogan is on like this amazing pirate treasure adventure, and he never buys into the fact that he's on an amazing pirate adventure. Like after they find the secret cave and they literally find like a box full of jewels, he says to Robert Vaughn, he's all like, I told you this whole thing was a fairy tale. Dude, you're in a secret cavern! You have to admit, after a certain point, there's some mystery to this island.
There's some whimsy.
Something must be going on here. But
you found a jewel in a fake shrunken head. You know, something's amiss here. But yeah, he just never wanted any part of this stupid adventure.
He does much like he probably never wanted anything of it. I don't know, because the same year he made this, he made High Noon at Mega Mountain. So clearly, Hogan was going through something at this period. This feels like this was his period that all of these tough guys go through at a certain point where I guess because that was way earlier. I mean, like Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny and Santa with Muscles, that's him firmly in like pacifier, tooth fairy type territory. And
like the thing about his image during that era was that he was the family friendly guy. He was the guy that like kids wanted to look up to. So he had to be in all these stupid
It
movies.
is rather telling that the only sort of like movies that he was in that kind of like flirted with an R rating, flirted with like people getting like blown away, blood and guts and stuff like that, were the TV movies he made, were the Shadow Warriors movies. Yeah. All of his theatrical stuff was largely family friendly. He didn't do a big theatrical action movie. Yeah. It was all kids movies. Yeah. It was all goofball bullshit. Yeah. That he did. He never did.
Yeah. It is interesting.
It is. It is kind of like an interesting footnote
on the small
his
screen.
career.
He was the action tough guy, but like in the movies, he
had to have a tutu on. Yeah. Otherwise, people wouldn't have taken him seriously,
or they would have been afraid of him.
Yeah. And like I haven't seen the Thunder in Paradise movies. I imagine they're probably sanitized.
I imagine they're very similar to the Shadow Warriors.
Yeah.
Maybe with like a hint of McKinley's Island.
I would say that first Shadow Warriors movie is probably the most violent movie he made.
Yeah, shark fucking blows up in that.
A shark blows up in that, yeah. And really, that's the worst thing that I can say about McKinley's Island.
McCinsey's.
Is it McKinsey?
I think it is McKinsey's.
I don't know. He's not even a character.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would have been nice if they had explained who McKinsey was.
Yeah, some kind of backstory that, he was a famous explorer.
He stole a diamond. He stole a diamond from the King of England.
Yeah, and he named an island after himself, and then he
died.
Carved a date into a back of a turtle.
Back of a turtle. He was a terrible man.
Yeah.
Not a good guy. Jameson, does cut that out.
Jesus, yeah.
Jameson!
Yeah.
Does McKinsey's Island have a certain something, or is it just a whole lot of nothing?
This is a whole lot of nothing from me. I couldn't say that I cared for this movie. Maybe if I rewatched it with like the eyes of and the understanding that this was like a kids movie, I could maybe forgive it a lot. But this is a little too stupid for me. I never got what they were really trying to do with Robert Vaughn, where he's incredibly lazy, but he's also very intelligent and hyper aware of everything that's going on. But yeah, I didn't know like where the joke with that began and where it ended. You know, Hulk Hogan I felt had no strong motivation to get Billy back. If like I'm saying, if he were to go rescue his old mentor friend Robert Vaughn, I maybe could have seen that a little bit more. But I never bought like the relationship that he had with Billy. If Grace Jones is just horrible to watch in this movie.
If his mission was to go to rescue literally anyone else other than the actor they cast to play Billy, I would have believed it.
Okay.
It was just that actor in particular, and like I don't buy that Hulk Hogan would risk everything to get you back.
Actually, you know what? A thought just occurred to my mind.
Does it have a certain something now? Are you leaning more towards certain something?
It has a certain something.
It does have a certain something. I agree.
In the same way that classic bad movies have, because it finds new ways to be bad.
I said it. Sorry. I finished your point. Yeah.
You know what?
Right.
I would probably recommend it to people who haven't seen it for a bad movie night. But I would not rewatch it myself.
No,
How about that?
I agree with you. I would fully, if someone was looking for a bad movie to watch and laugh at, I would absolutely recommend this one. Like I said earlier, other than kind of an underwhelming speedboat chase, I didn't really find this movie that boring. It's monotonous, but something interesting happens every 2 minutes. Maybe not interesting, but like something noteworthy.
Something
happens every 2 minutes that makes you go,
what?
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Every scene is defined by something like that. Okay, you know what? I changed my answer. Yeah, all right. This one's a winner for me.
But I completely agree with you. It is absolute trash. It's a horrible movie.
Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset because I watched it when it was getting hot out, and I had the fucking new Zelda game to play and everything.
Right.
So it's like,
well, yeah,
I wanted to get this over with. So.
Exactly. You got Tears of the Kingdom right there, and you have to watch this bullshit. I completely agree with that sentiment. Yeah. No, but I had a lot of fun with this. I think it's dumb, and if you want to see Grace Jones give one of the craziest fucking performances I've ever seen anyone give, there you go. I didn't know she had it in her. I mean, I knew she had it in her. I didn't think she had the desire to give a performance like this, but I guess everyone should try everything once.
Does she have kids?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times I have to think, people who...
Did she have kids when she made this movie?
Ooh.
Is that the question you're asking?
Sure, yeah. Because a lot of the times actors with a bit more of esteem will decide to do some schlocky blockbuster thing for the kids.
Bob Hoskins did Mario because, everyone did Mario because their kids said to do it. She has one child. Okay. I don't know when they were born. Okay. I can guarantee you she has never showed them McKinley's Island.
No.
But that was McKinsey's Island.
That was McKinsey's Island.
Directed by Sam Furstenberg. If you enjoyed this episode of WrestleMania, stay tuned because we got one more to go.
One more to
go. And if you like this episode, please check out our back catalog. You can listen to us on Spotify and on YouTube. Something that I have noticed on Spotify, they have now included an ability to leave comments. So if you want to leave a comment on this episode, you can do it on both platforms now.
There you go.
And if you're just listening to us on Spotify, guess what? You go over to YouTube. Jameson, oh my God, it's incredible. He includes all of these pictures and these things. It's amazing. I don't know why I'm doing it like Trump. I'm doing the, you can't see it. I'm doing the pinky finger thing. I don't know why I'm doing it. It's the best. It's one of the best video editors, Jameson Rafter. You want them. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing.
My editing, I'm going to say, is a little bit better than the editing you've seen in McKinsey's Island.
Yeah, there you go. It's a better edited... Our review of this movie is a better edited movie of McKinsey's Island. It's really hard to remember this movie is a lot like Deal of the Lifetime in the sense that I can barely remember what the name of the movie is. It's McKinsey's Island. Yeah. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for our fantastic theme music. You can follow us on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and... what's the other one? Instagram. And
the one that you manage.
The one that I manage poorly. If you want to see some of my gross shingles photos, DM me. I'll send them to you.
He's going to start his OnlyFans, only shingles.
And, I guess that's it. So for Nothing Movies, I'm Kaz.
I'm Jameson, and in the immortal words of Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do when Nothing Movies runs wild on you?
I was about to say, in the immortal words of Hulk Hogan, oh God, I ate too much pork.
I can't fuck, brother.